Canon Films, the home of high-powered, high-voltage motion picture entertainment. With the screen's biggest spectacles, brightest stars, and boldest lineup of explosive entertainment. We're taking motion picture excitement over the edge and your box office over the top. We're Canon Films, and we're dynamite.
Good evening. This is the 10 o'clock news. Reports are coming in this evening of further acts of sexual depravity amongst the nation's females. London's largest bingo hall was closed by police earlier this evening following persistent abuse of male patrons. An official statement from the Home Office confirms that the cause of the recent widespread sexual escalation is due to a contraceptive pill marketed under the trade name Libido Specials. They are considering the setting up of a committee to investigate. The Prime Minister this evening had denied allegations by the opposition that the sex polls are a political maneuver to wrest control in the forthcoming by-elections.
So, for people that don't know, The Love Pill is a movie that came out in 1972, but it was actually released by Canon in 1975. So, like most Canon releases in North America, it took a while for them to bring in those imports. Probably because, like all the other films, The Love Pill was left in some garbage somewhere, and the Canon guys just went over, picked it up, and released it to, I assume, grindhouses.
This one is a pretty grim pickup. They had previously picked up. We talked about it about 10 episodes ago, not even that long. Au Pair Girls, which is another 1972 British sex comedy, which had some, fairly sort of famous British actors in it.
And by that we mean faces that I didn't recognize at all, but Matthew went on at length about it.
And had some sort of a sense of humor and some sort of a plot.
Well, you don't think The Love Pill has a plot? I mean, it's a film about a love pill that drives women mad. Like, they need to have sex.
So, The Love Pill is it's basically like a film, and I'm going to give this, film sort of too much benefit of the doubt here. It's a film that the setup is kind of based on an idea of contraceptive pills, right? Mm-hmm. But it's the idea is like, what if the contraceptive pill, they not only stopped women from having babies, it also made them crazy horny. And the concept is basically that there's a small village where some guy who runs a sweet shop has found a particular type of root or something, and he puts it into bonbons, basically. And the women eat the bonbons, and as soon as they have the bonbon, they're like, I have to bone the first man that I see as fast as possible. And at this point, we would normally see hilarity ensues. Hilarity does not ensue. Basically, nothing ensues.
Well, the film starts with a man walking through the streets, followed by a woman.
Yeah.
And then the man almost gets raped by the woman. You get it, guys? It's a joke.
Yeah, she sort of Benny Hills him. She eats the bonbon and she's like, oh, I'm gonna get some of that. So she sort of, chases him around for a while. I mean, you're like, at this point, you're like, all right, what? Who cares?
Well, this is something that I wanted to discuss with what about the moral implications of this film? Like, the women in this movie are, like, tackling men on the street and, like, ripping their clothes off to have sex with them.
Yes. I mean, there's a point of later on in the film, which, once the pill is disseminated into British life, as it were, many women are taking, that they kind of are playing the, a role reversal. What if women were the ones who were always wanting sex? Mm-hmm. And so there's a fairly long sort of montage where there's like women going to and checking like little written cards that have like basically male prostitutes on them, and they're like, oh, I've got to get myself a prostitute because I'm so horny all the time. And then there's a fairly long sequence where you see women, they're going to see male strip shows,
and they are like orgasmic in their longing for these men that are doing these little lame strip shows. But the thing is the women are not put in power in this situation. They're just sex-crazed maniacs. Like, it's not...
Yeah, and so the movie is not like, as we say, like, you're not... Maybe at the time you'd be like, well, that's amusing. Women wanting it more than men, because people, even in 1970s, didn't have, the acceptance and understanding that maybe women also could enjoy sex. But overall, it's just kind of gross.
I mean, like, the film introduces our hero, Arnold, this bespectacled, Neebish type, behind a counter with an old granny, like, rubbing her breasts.
Yeah, she comes right up to the screen and she, like, rubs her breasts, and she's like, I am going to bone you. And he's like, no, thank you.
No, please stop, please.
In a West Country accent, which I'm not going to do.
No, he's gone out. But he'll be back in a minute.
A whole minute?
You'll be wanting some more extras.
God, anything for a drink. Give my goddamn soul just a glass of beer.
But it's very recognisable as being a particular type of, country bumpkin style accent.
Oh, is it?
Yes, yeah, in the UK, definitely.
So then we're introduced to a scientist and his daughter, I believe.
It can't be his daughter, because basically he's talking in very boring, because if you haven't got it by this point, he talks in very boring fashion about how ingredient X is the one thing in the bonbons that they don't know what it is.
You scientists are sometimes wrong.
I'm not wrong, Miss Petrie. I'm not accustomed to making errors of such proportion.
But you admit that even after your tests, you couldn't completely identify every ingredient.
All except one. Ingredient X, and as you well realize, it's in order to determine the properties and structures of that ingredient that we are now on our way to Bugley and Mr. Crudley's sweet shop.
Great plan.
Thank you.
And the scientist and this other female character are going... What's her name?
Linda.
Linda are going to the small town where I guess this has been happening for a while?
Yeah, and he's like, okay, so what we're going to have to do to find out this ingredient X is, you're going to take the pill, and then we'll do it.
We intend to confirm the property of the ingredient, and I was going to solicit your help.
My help?
And rumor has it old man Hull really loved his clientele. I mean in the carnal sense.
So that means it's probably not her father, unless he's a very rigorous scientist wanting to explore all of the avenues.
This movie is gross, but it's not that gross.
The necessary, how shall I say, laboratory?
Are you suggesting that I test them myself? With you?
I just want to say, there are many women floating in the river. But you're the only one I want to stuff and stick over them on my wall over the fireplace.
Basically, she's like, nope, that's not going to happen.
Exactly, my dear. No one will know. Let's have a go.
What do you say we go back to my place? I'll show you my cannelloni. Huh?
So she goes to the shop where Arnold is working.
Yes.
And then we're introduced to Arnold's father, who is the inventor of this drug. And he tells Linda's partner, who I thought was her father, but is not, he's like, I'll take you to this drug. I'll show you where it is.
But I don't know where the root comes from. Dad won't tell I.
Give the lad ideas, isn't it? Once again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
Yeah, even though he won't tell his son where the root is, for some reason he's happy to take this random scientist to go and see it.
End up with me paying taxes on my lovely little suite.
Oh, not at all. Entirely different department. No concern of ours at all. Entirely different department.
And provided it don't go any further, look.
What's his first name?
John.
John as in John Doe?
His name doesn't matter. Do you trust him?
In my line of work, I don't trust anyone, but he'll help us in this situation.
And then hilarity ensues, I guess. In the scientist is taken by the father on his bike, like so he's sitting in the basket, and they're cycling awkwardly across all these like English fields. Meanwhile, a blind hunter, like a hunter with like milk bottle glasses, is trying to shoot pheasants. Well, sneaking past the couple we saw earlier having sex in a field.
Being raped, we assume.
Yeah, one of them that's happening to one of them. And he fires at a pheasant, and then instead of hitting the pheasant, he murders
both of them, the father and the scientist.
And the scientist with a shotgun, and then it's later revealed that he was just playing being a hunter because the pheasant is fake.
So my question is, this hunter, he's brought up on murder charges, is he not?
I don't know.
He killed 2 men!
God!
You killed them. But I thought you liked them. They liked you.
They didn't like me! Because after that scene, it just cuts to Arnold and Linda at their funerals, and it's okay, and they seem alright with it.
Now, do you feel remorse?
Oh my God, I'm a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you can't go! I need your forgiveness!
Yeah, we also forgot that in the scene with the shot, a weird troll man comes in, and you can't understand what he's saying at all.
Hello, Slurry. What can I do for you?
Hey, man. Ain't got any more of them revitalizers in your Arnold? Or your eyes need a bit of a pick-me-up come Sunday.
Willow, use the wand on that troll.
Hurry!
That works too.
And now you expect me to ask you what the 2 refers to?
Only if you're interested.
So from this point on, we get into the love pill shenanigans, where Arnold and Linda decide to sell the love pill to a guy named Libido.
I'm Libido, the man who invented armchair spaghetti farming reduced to this.
The libido, the life force, the essence, the right stuff. What the French call a certain... I don't know what.
My name is Libido.
It's not funny.
Well, at least that got a rise out of him.
There's one vaguely amusing joke, which is when they cut to Libido. The idea is Libido is a failing businessman with a very sort of low-class secretary who's constantly complaining about it. But when they go to his office, where people are removing the stuff from his office, he has this drawing of his sales graph. And the sales graph is like, the line is off the bottom of the page and along the wall. And I was like, that's vaguely amusing.
That's not funny.
Some people experience a diminished libido. They have a hard time getting or maintaining
Bingo.
I see.
That's just lame.
It's like, yeah, I mean, if it was like a background drawing, a background element in like a Zaz film.
Yeah, but
like,
it would change. Like,
that's
look what
true.
it used to be, and then it cut back, and then it would be down.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where the joke is.
That's where the joke is, yeah. Basically, the idea is Libido is like a sleazy guy who's got no money, so when you come to him with this idea of this love pill, he's like, obviously I'm going to make loads of money out of this. One thing that's set up, though, is that the main character doesn't know where the root is. He just has a bunch of extract of the root, like 2 big jugs of it, that they're going to use to sell the pills from. So, start that. They kind of sell it in sort of Tic Tac packets, which I thought was amusing.
Contraceptive pill. What only takes two seconds to work. And what is more, you only need one when you want it.
The sweet with the on the outside, and either the or the on the inside.
They advertise it in what is apparently parodies of British adverts of the time.
A million housewives every day. Pick up pills today.
I love TV commercials, but I think they need better songs in them to help promote the products. What? They need better songs to help sell the products. Like, I think this would be a great song. Viagra!
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains.
Excuse me, don't move. Have you heard of our 2-for-1 swap?
Oh, no, you don't.
You mean you won't swap?
Never.
Well, I am offering you 2 of a well-known brand for your 1 libido extras.
Not to me, you don't.
You mean you still won't swap?
No, definitely not.
Well, that's what we usually find. Women who take libido extras just refuse to change. Oh, dear.
For less than $45, I'm more than a beautiful body. I'm a sex object.
Hager slacks mix and match with Hager tops for less than $50 because looking good doesn't have to cost a lot.
Thanks, Hager.
The film just stops for long moments to see women dancing twice.
Yeah, there's a sequence where they go for dinner at a sort of a topless bar, and the low-class secretary is wearing the most amazing pair of trousers. It looks like she's wearing half a pantomime zebra costume. You know, like it's these huge black and white furry trousers, but then
and to make it even funnier, the guy drops a little pill in her drink.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, I want to have sex now." So then she starts doing a sort of a funky naked dance, and you're just like, "What's going on here?" And yeah,
I think this may be the podcast we've done with the most disgust in it.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so many. It's just there's so much innuendo in this movie as well. That's so funny. There's like when they talk about like the bonbons, they refer to them as balls for a sequence where they just keep saying balls over and over again.
Balls. What was that? Hold on to your hat.
Balls.
That much I heard.
Sorry.
It's quite absurd. I mean sugar balls.
Pet name?
No, it's a little round, it's a brand name we give them.
You itchy?
No.
Oh, God, I'm really... Oh, gotta get an itch on here.
Stay away from me, man.
This is the brain. Brace for impact. In 3, 2, 1.
I didn't feel. Did you feel anything?
No, I think I feel okay.
No, I think we're gonna be all right.
Oh, shoot! God! Why? Why does it hurt?
I just can't get him to get the... Ow!
Don't.
I'm just really... Oh.
All right, come on. Do you ever get the feeling we're just a couple of bowls?
And then there's a sequence when they go to the restaurant, like the topless lady, they decide they're going to order melon, right? So he's like, "Oh, I'd love a lovely bit of melon," or whatever.
I don't know, this seems pretty funny to me.
Nice melons.
Certainly. I think I'll start with a nice, juicy melon. What will you have to start with, Sylvia?
How about the avocado pear? Delicious. Me too. What are you going to start with, Arnold?
Breasts.
Breast, thighs.
Breasts. Me 2 big breasts.
2 big breasts coming up. That's what I want, 2 big breasts.
I'd love melons. And then the main character's always saying, like, he's always saying what he's thinking. So, like, Linda goes for a bath, she takes her clothes off, without closing the door, as you did in 1972. And
hey man, it was the time, the post-free love period. People were still, you know.
And she's like, "What are you up to?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just pouring myself a glass of boobs. I mean, I'm gonna have a nice drink of breasts." You know.
Does that never happen to you when you're in a sexual situation and those kind of, you know, terms just come flying out of your mouth?
Thirsty. Drinkle. Thirsty.
Oh, are you all right?
Yes. Just got a bit of cramp.
Cramp? Where?
Breasts and legs.
I was just smiling. I was just browsing. Wouldn't be the Christmas shopping season if the stores were any less harder than they are. It's a bit nipply out. I mean nippy out. What did I say? Nipple? There is a nip in the air, though.
Can I take something out for you?
Plenty of shopping days left until adulthood, which is to say Christmas as in Yule log. Not a log, I don't have a log, but I mean, you know, just if I had a log, not in the sense that you think I said I did.
Shall I hold it?
Oh, wait just a minute.
Doesn't anybody fucking knock anymore?
Fans of Sarno-style long, sexy dance sequences, this movie has a huge one in the middle. So if you're ticking those off as canon type things, there's that, I guess. They go and try and find the route, right? Because they need more of the stuff because they're running out. That sequence goes to nothing.
Going on a treasure hunt. Going on a treasure hunt. Stomping through the jungle. Stomping through the jungle. Looking out for pirates. Looking out for pirates. And we're not afraid. And we're not afraid. We made it. Yeah! On a treasure hunt. And we weren't afraid.
There's a segment on a talk show where Mary Whitehouse figure.
There's a Mary Whitehouse figure who's like, oh, sex. If you don't know, Mary Whitehouse says she was the head of, and let me remember the exact name of this association.
She was most famous for spearheading the Video Nasties era too.
She was the first president of the National Viewer and Listeners Association, a famously grim, unhappy woman who was just against everything, and she was very Christian, let's say. Yes, that was her position, and she's basically a woman who looks nothing like her. Admittedly, looks more like Anne Widdecombe, the celibate MP.
I've never heard of her.
You never heard of?
Celibate MP?
Yeah, she was an MP who's famously. I don't actually know if she was famously celibate. I think she was celibate.
Like that was one of her
things about her. Anyway, she's like, oh, you know, people shouldn't have sex. It's making the world worse. And Libido's like, is it? I just saw Frank Sinatra over there. So on live television, he spikes their drinks, and then they're like, oh, we gotta have sex. I mean, you never want to have sex with Libido. They always want to have sex with the main character guy, this specky West Country accent guy. And you're like,
very judgmental against this guy with a West Country accent.
No, it's just something that's very noticeable of him. You know, it's this thing that stands about him.
I like rabbits. I keep rabbits. How do you know rabbits haven't got souls?
Don't be frivolous. As I see it, your nasty instant sex pill is just one more step on the modern path to a hedonist hell. Case of do what you like and to hell with the consequences. And it's the women that will feel it in the end.
Do go on, Mrs. Tighthouse.
But this damn pill, excuse me, this pill has changed everything. No sense of shame, inflamed appetites. I get abuse thrown at me when I visit the Heath these days.
You're an old bat, aren't you?
Mr. Crudley, what are your views on the subject?
Well, I'm just trying to make both ends meet. I mean, get my meat. Well, no, I'm just keeping a roof over my head. And then they do it for the charity.
Look, it's Frank Sinatra. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Lovely aqua purist, nothing like it, eh? Pill or no pill, we all come back to Mother Nature's beverage in the end.
I don't quite get your point, Mr. Libido.
I don't know, not a girl in your position.
Reading rubbish on a serious programme. Watch your tongue, Mr. Havergo.
Libido, darling, libido.
Of course, there can be no cut-and-dried response to your revolutionary product, Mr. Crudley.
Pure thoughts and deep breathing is what I have in embroidery over my bed.
The undeniable merit of an unprejudiced view towards all matters concerning the human psyche.
A tight hold on carnal lust. That's the answer.
How true.
Television.
How true.
Let joy be unconfined.
Horse enlargement system you'll ever need. But don't take my word for it, just look at these satisfied customers. His horse got a stiffy, and so did theirs. Horse stiffies for everybody. Help your stud exceed and excel with Niagara. Niagara worked for black caviar, and it can work for you too. Put the whip away and call today, as seen on television. Warning, not for human consumption.
And then we get to probably the only part which I thought was funny, which was our main character and Linda. They have to get together for basically no reason.
So they get together in a long sequence.
Yeah, a long montage.
Which is played completely straight.
Yeah, which is played completely straight.
Wait, but at one point, isn't it revealed to be a dream?
I honestly don't know if it was a dream or not. That's the thing. So the way this movie goes is they go off on like a nice like day in London. They steal some apples for some reason. They go rowing. They have drinks by the lakeside, and all through this plays this one song. But this one song is only about 30 seconds long, so they just keep restarting. So, is this really me? Is this really her? The guitar plays for a while. It stops. There's about a second beat. Is this really me?
So do you think it's really about him drugging her drink and her falling in love with him is because he's drugged her drink?
No, I think it's just like, because he wakes up and he's like, oh, I had a wonderful dream where
we were together.
But there's a fairly long second sequence before that. After that, there's like some brief nudity and
there's some breasts.
Yeah, there's some breasts, and Linda has sex with him, but it's one of those like they grab each other and roll about on the floor, so you don't.
Well, I think there's a fire in the background too.
Yeah.
It's all real romantic.
I mean, yeah. He wakes up and he thinks, was it a dream? But they never really work that out or not. They never really clarify that. One thing happens though, where I was like, all right, I have an anecdote now off this. So she gives him, breakfast multiple times in this movie. But this last time he has an egg. I know what an egg is. Yes. Sorry, like an egg in an egg cup, right? Yep. And he cracks the top with a spoon. Right. Mm-hmm. So
you're really building this up. I'm very excited for this anecdote.
Anyway, the point was when he hit the egg with the spoon, I was to imply. I was just like, that just reminds me of that. That got hard. Yes. At that point in the movie, I got hard, and I've been hard ever since.
Hard 6 coming out.
What?
Hit me. Ow.
Anyway, the movie ends.
No, the movie doesn't end. Basically, the movie, they romance, and then they somehow find a map to where the root is held, tosses out the window, says, I don't want to do this anymore.
And it's discovered that for the last so many months, libido has been just making sugar pills because they ran out of stuff ages ago. And all these pregnant women chase him and beat him up. Here's my question to you, Justin. How many pregnant women could you beat up before they eventually took you down?
Like with my bare hands?
Like with your bare hands,
right? They're going to kill me. How angry are they?
They're completely angry. Let's say that.
So I would aim for the pregnant belly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's that once they start, it's that you just start saying, I'm gonna start punching you in the stomach, right? I mean, it's like they're gonna back off, aren't they? I mean, like
if you're like a mad dog and you're willing to do whatever you want to get
survive because they're trying to kill you, right?
They're trying to kill me. So let's assume they have knives in their hands.
They have knives and stuff, right? Yeah, like.
How many pregnant women would you be willing to kill to get out of this situation, Matt?
Or how many children would you be willing to kill? Potential children.
A dozen? Is that where you're holding up your hands? I can't quite make it out.
No, I was just wondering because I was thinking like being chased by pregnant women. It just doesn't seem like a thing that I'd be too worried about.
Oh, you wouldn't be worried? You think you can take them down?
Yeah.
This is like great, like famous last words. You're gonna be down in the alleyway tonight, and a bunch of pregnant women are gonna come out.
Yeah, those pregnant women gangs that have been running Toronto.
Yep.
And the movie ends with our hero and Linda agreeing to get married and have lots of children.
And who cares? It's 25 minutes into the podcast, and we're already struggling to an end to try to summarize this movie.
This is the movie that broke us, I think.
No, it's not. I think the next one, the Yum Yum Girl, is probably going to break us because that one's not a comedy; it's a drama.
Is it? Oh,
but anyway, this is making canon. No, we've already had a bunch of shitty European sex comedies. We don't need another one. I don't even think we added those ones, did we?
Nope. We added none of them. This is a nothing. This is like something they picked up, they found it in the garbage with other stuff, and they just shoved it out. It's a nothing. And even to the people who made it, it's clearly a nothing, because as far as I have learned from all that cool research we do, this was made by a couple of guys, one of whom was literally a boom operator, and the other one who had made a bunch of hardcore short films, hardcore blue movies, just little loops, which had names including Covenant of Sin, Jolly Hockey Sticks, Schoolgirl Seduction, and Girl Guide Rape. So he was just basically kind of a gross guy trying to get into, softcore movies, and that didn't work for him, and he just went straight back into hardcore movies and was eventually arrested for it.
He was arrested for it?
He was put in jail for it.
Did you hear back in the days of the video nasties, you could arrested and jailed for selling video nasty movies?
I can believe that.
Fuck you, Mary Whitehouse.
Yeah, she sucks.
Now she's dead.
Certainly the titles of the works
She lived a long ass time.
She did live a long. When she was on that crusade, she was like in her 90s.
Yep, she was well old.
Alright, what are you recommending, Matthew?
I'm going to recommend a British comedy that I think is just kind of weird, and I remember really enjoying when I saw it, but it's kind of like, you're talking about the Carry On movies.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go for something a bit more wholesome. I want to go with the movies of Norman Wisdom.
And who is Norman Wisdom?
So Norman Wisdom is essentially Britain's Jerry Lewis.
Whoa. So, did he direct his own films?
No.
Was he a total filmmaker like Jerry Lewis was?
No. But was he an annoying, kind of, gurning pratfall machine? Yes, he was.
Wait, before we get on the Norman Wisdom train, are you a fan of Jerry Lewis?
I like Jerry Lewis, yeah. I mean,
it's funny because...
Well, the thing is, a lot of these things I say, I like it, but then I realize that I haven't seen any of these movies since I was about 12.
So you haven't seen, like, The Nutty Professor? Or...
I mean, I've seen The Nutty Professor, but not since I was, like, 12 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love, the part where all the fat black people are, like, Hercules. It's amazing. But what I actually... No, the original is really funny.
Yes.
And it's good. And there's a few other Jerry Lewis movies that are excellent.
Ladies' Man.
I think maybe that
He
one.
was he loved to talk about how he was a total filmmaker because he starred, edited, wrote, kind of shot his own movies. And it's weird how Jerry Lewis has kind of disappeared completely from pop culture. Like, you ask someone who's 12 who Jerry Lewis is, I'm sure they'll give you a dazed, nothing expression.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
I mean, is it because of The Simpsons that we even... You know what? If you try to do a Jerry Lewis imitation, they're just going to be like, well, that's, Professor Frink. Why is Norman Wisdom a lot of fun?
We've ruined it. Norman Wisdom is... I don't know, he's just like that pratfall machine, but his movies are really kind of interesting. Like, Man in the Moment is weird because it's a movie where he plays a file clerk who accidentally ends up as Britain's ambassador to the UN.
Ow.
Yeah, and then it's like, I don't know, like, it's one of those things, it's like a King Ralph, right? Like, everyone dies and he's the one guy remaining.
I remember this movie called Saint Ralph that was coming out, and someone was like, is it a sequel to King Ralph? And I'm like, how would that work? Would all the popes and everyone in the religion have to die?
That would be amazing. I want to see that movie.
And would John Goodman have to take back the role? Yeah, he'd have to.
He'd have to. But yeah, Norman plays this ambassador at the UN who ends up trying to help this small island with their diplomatic situation. In the meantime, like falling over all the time. And it's good. It's enjoyable. You should watch it.
What's it called again?
Man of the Moment.
Man of the Moment. Okay. Yeah. So I was going to recommend a classy film that I had recently seen from Russia called Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors. It's a crazy, cinematic, visually stunning kind of film from 1965, doing camera moves that you can't even fathom how they would do now. But instead, while you were talking about Norman Wisdom, I'm like, I should recommend a comedy too.
Do it.
So I'm going to recommend the Three Stooges remake. Oh, not a fan?
I've only seen a half of the Three Stooges remake because I tried to watch.
Do you like the Three Stooges?
I don't know.
Okay, see, this is the question I always ask the people that go like, ugh. When the Three Stooges
I just don't like. I like people pratfalls, but I don't like people actively hurting each other.
Yeah, but they don't get hurt. That's the whole point of the movie. Like, there's
but then,
no
like they're
injuries.
poking each other in the eyes and all that. It's not
yeah,
funny.
But they're not like screaming in pain or anything. And then
but it's like that would actually hurt if someone did that.
Oh, you mean that? Isn't there a Simpsons joke about that? Like, you don't want to see the Three Stooges ward or something?
Yeah. That's how I feel about the Three Stooges. Children probably poked each other's eyes out all the time in America.
I love the Three Stooges, and I never poked. But you know what? It's kind of like violence in movies, right? If they were going to hurt themselves inspired by the Three Stooges, they were going to hurt themselves some other stupid
It's true.
way.
But I don't know. I actually really like I'm not a huge fan of
the Farrelly Brothers.
I was going to say like Charlie Chaplin, right? So we talk about these type of like not
physical comedians.
Charlie Chaplin, okay, right?
No, okay, if you say so.
But what's the
Buster Keaton?
Buster Keaton, good.
Yes.
And
Buster Keaton's more of a Jackie Chan type, though.
It's true. And then the fat guy and the thin guy, Laurel and Hardy.
Yes.
Couldn't remember their names for a minute there for some reason. They're great.
But why Laurel and Hardy, but not Buster? What about Harold Lloyd? Are you a fan of him?
Pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, Charlie Chaplin it's just not that good to me.
Do you know his backstory and his?
But Laurel and Hardy, I always think is very funny. Like still funny now. Like if you watch a Laurel and Hardy short, definitely funny. Not like in a way where you're like, I appreciate why this was funny. Like actually funny. Probably like how the Three Stooges is still funny to you.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But you're very taking a moralistic stance where you're like.
No, I just don't find it funny.
Why? It's physical comedy.
It just doesn't.
You're just like, they're hurting each other.
They're hurting each other.
What about the Marx Brothers?
And they're annoying. Marx Brothers is good.
Okay.
Yeah, like so whatever is it with Three Stooges.
Three Stooges is like, that kind of stuff for dummies, pretty much.
Yeah, I watched about half of the Three Stooges movie on a plane.
Yes.
And then I was kind of like, I stopped it because we landed, and I just never went back to it.
I mean, if it didn't make you laugh in the first half, it's not going to do a crazy turnaround in the second, where suddenly there's going to be emotional depth that there wasn't there before.
Just didn't work for me.
I think it's great.
That's what comedy's like, though, right? Yep. I mean, some things are funny, some things aren't. Maybe some people will watch
The Love Pill.
And they'll go, that movie is hilarious. Mm-hmm. The part where they kept saying balls over and over again, it was just non-stop.
Do you think they could make a movie, like remake The Love Pill in this day and age?
No, it's a little round...
No, but The Love Pill is so much based in the idea that women don't like sex, and it's funny if women were to start liking it. And that contraception is a weird thing anyway. There's just no jokes in that movie for a modern audience at all. It's just, there's nothing there. It's just based in sort of an insane mindset that just seems so foreign to us that it might as well come from another planet.
Mm-hmm. So you're trying to say this is more of an archaeological object that we should put in the canon then.
This is an archaeological object in that this should be buried.
That's Matthew Kumar's pull quote for The Love Pill.
Yeah.
So enough about those movies. So our two recommendations: Three Stooges, the remake by the Farrelly Brothers, and Norman Wisdom,
Man of the Moment.
So next week we're gonna, because we are not even close to being our time. Even though that you looked over the past episode, we used to do 30-minte episodes back in the day.
Yep, and I'm good with this one being short too.
We're gonna watch The Yum Yum Girls from 1976, which is supposed to be a drama about getting into the modeling industry. So hold on to your hats, guys, because that one's gonna be so much fun.
I'm going to do so much cocaine before that episode, so
really?
So that I have any energy, because this one I'm just like,
you're feeling
kill
a little
me.
bit sick.
I am not well, but I just feel bad for our listeners listening to me complain about this movie the whole time.
That'd be amazing if you come and you're like, hey, this is Matt Kumar, we're gonna talk about the Yum Yum Girls.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to do any cocaine. If anything, I'll take some downers before we do that episode.
Okay.
And we haven't said it in a few episodes.
I just can't wait for the newspaper headlines. Podcast hosts found dead.
One of them took downers and one of them took uppers.
Yep, from overdoses. Police say this is why you don't watch all the canon movies anymore. It drives you to drugs.
Do you think that doesn't make the news anymore, does it, when someone has an overdose?
Hey. This is... I didn't even know why I said hey.
You look so serious when you put your arms down and you looked.
Anyway, I was Mathew Kumar.
My name's Justin the Clue, and you've been listening to Loose Cannon,
the Tango and Cash fan podcast.